What is going on, guys? Welcome to Greg's TV Daily Rewind. This is where we go back a week, give you the past 7 days of tech news in one single video. We covered a lot of cool stuff this week, from the S24 phones, like all of them. We talk about the OnePlus Open Fold phone. We talk about other devices as well, tons of devices. Pixel 8, we covered that, a lot of stuff. So if you want to know the price and official specs and all that stuff and features, we have that all covered and much, much more. So enjoy this week and we'll see you in the next one. About the Pixel 8 and 8 Pro and some things that are going to be really great if you're planning on upgrading to this phone, and also competition-wise, why it's great, especially on the Android side. So let's get into it. So first of all, they're going to have a Super Actua display for direct sunlight viewing. What does that mean? Well, some specs have leaked out and they show us exactly what that means. So here it is. This is going to be official specs that are coming out. And about this is that the Pixel 8 will have up to 2000 nits of brightness, whereas the Pixel 8 will have up to 2400 nits of brightness. Now, the actual regular nits on here is 1400 and 1600, but they go up to, again, respectively 2000 and 2400. So you can use that Super Actua display in direct sunlight. Now, to continue on with this, some other key things that popped up about this that I hadn't seen before are that you're going to get up to 7 years of OS and security updates. That is insane. So if you were keeping this phone for 7 years, you're going to get 7 years of Android updates and 7 years of security updates. This is unprecedented. I believe this is iPhone territory. I think iPhones go up to 7 years. I could be mistaken. Might even be longer than iPhones. But this is awesome. This is really, really, really great news for the Pixel lineup. If you plan on keeping these phones for years and years and years, you're going to get the updates and the features that most of the other Pixel phones have as well. Now, the storage on this is still going to be 3.1. They're not at UFS 4.0 like the Galaxy, the high-end Galaxy phone. So these phones feel very fast, but they're not getting the absolute fastest read-write speeds for their storage. Other than that, everything else is kind of what we've seen before, but those extra things in there, I thought were really a nice big change for them overall. The 7 years of updates, and then also those super bright displays, especially in bright sunlight. So I love seeing that. I love a great bright display. One of my absolute favorite things about the Z Fold 5 is how bright this display gets. It's insanely bright. I bring this outdoors, and for a folding phone, it blows the competition away in terms of its brightness. So very impressed with that. Our first story of the day has to do with the amount of updates most phones get compared to the Google Pixel 7 or Pixel 8 phones, I should say. Because if you remember yesterday, we talked about the Google Pixel 8 phones getting 7 years of OS and security updates, which is insane. But what about other phones and how they compare? Well, here's a list that Yogesh Brar has put together showing that Google stands high and tall above everyone else, 2 years more than Apple. Apple does 5 years of OS updates, and they do more years of security updates, but crazy. Samsung at 5 years and 4 OS updates. OnePlus at 5 years and 4 OS updates. Xiaomi 5 years, 4 OS updates. Vivo 3 years, 2 OS updates. 3 years and 2 OS updates for nothing. Motorola 3 years, 2 OS updates, and then he has some slight corrections that nothing has a 4-year update policy, which isn't bad. Apple standard, like I mentioned, is a 5-year with beyond that for security updates, and that the 5-year update notice for Xiaomi started with the 13T series. Budget devices still have a 2+3 update. So it's pretty crazy that you can get that many years of updates. I just don't know, obviously the percentage of people that keep their phone for 7 years is probably extremely low. I think 5 years is probably a really good sweet spot. But do you keep your phone for 7 years? Let me know in the comments down below. Our last story of the day has to do with the release of the Galaxy S24 phones. It seems like we're getting more strong information about when this is going to be launched and released. So here goes. So this information is ultimately coming from Ice Universe, but our guy Vegnas is saying that S24 to launch on January 18th. Now, when we look at a little calendar entry, you can see the 18th is a Thursday, meaning that the 19th would be a Friday. And the reason I say that is because 2 weeks later, which would be February 2nd, is usually when they release their phones. They usually launch them on like a Wednesday or so, or Thursday, and then they end up releasing the phone on a Friday, which is usually 2 weeks after the event. So that's why I'm saying February 2nd, which if that comes into play, you're looking at these phones being in your hand most likely in January, because they usually ship out the phones 4 days usually earlier than the actual release date, 3 to 4 days earlier. So you're looking at the very end of January as the actual in-hand feeling of that phone, which is seriously right around the corner. And it's also earlier than expected, you know, in terms of when we get these. Usually get these like mid-February, late February, somewhere in that time frame. This time it's looking like it's going to happen in terms of actual release date, probably February 2nd, but actual in hand, end of January. First story is a good one. If you're thinking about pre-ordering the Pixel 8 and 8 Pro, these Android companies usually give you free gifts. And it looks like if you do that with the Pixel 8 and 8 Pro, they will also be giving you some free gifts. The latest that's coming out so far is that if you get a base model Pixel 8, you'll get Pixel Buds for free. Now, I don't know if they're the Pixel Buds Pro or Pixel Buds whatever, but you get Pixel Buds, which is great. And then if you get the Pro model, you'll get their new watch, the Pixel Watch 2, which does have a Snapdragon processor in there instead of an Exynos processor. So we should see a lot better battery life with this. And those are great pre-order gifts. You know, when people buy phones, they're generally getting buds or a watch, but I'm talking outside of a case. Those are obviously some of the biggest things there. And to grab that new watch would be really, really nice, especially if you're coming from the Pixel Watch, which was a great watch, but unfortunately the battery life is only 1 full day. So hopefully this will be a lot better than that. Next up is a update they came out with, the new One UI 6 beta. And I'll go through the list of things that was changed and updated, but ultimately one of the newer things on there is this. And as you can see, if you're a big screen recording fan, screen recording in the new beta of One UI 6 now supports 120 frames per second screen recording. So when you do your screen recording on your new One UI 6 enabled phone, as long as it supports 120 hertz refresh rate on the screen, it'll also record in 120 hertz refresh rate on the screen. I went through the settings of screen recording. I didn't see anything in there like to automatically enable that setting. So I think it just does it automatically. So that's awesome if you want these like super fluid, fast looking screen videos, I should say. It's gonna do just that. Now, speaking of the update, I'm gonna bring it up here on my phone. I took a screenshot of it and you guys can see it as well at home. And you can see it is the 6.0 ZWIC update. Bugs that have been fixed the problem of not being able to record during a call, fixed no touch at the bottom of the screen or ghost touch issue, fixed the issue of stuck after entering camera, forced termination and not being able to take pictures, fixed the problem of not being able to use motion photo, fixed infinite rebooting problem when entering maintenance mode, and many other improvements. So very nice. They're pushing these updates like crazy. This is another step towards that release. I would guess this is I said last time it's probably only 4 updates, but it looks like we're into 5 now. So I would guess this one or the next one would be the last, then you'd get the official update for it. It literally just came out this morning, at least where I am. And so yeah, pretty cool though. Go download it if you have the beta. If you want to download the beta, all you gotta do is go into your Samsung members app and then look through the banners at the top and you should be able to download it. I only got one story today, and it is all about the Google Pixel 8 Pro and a feature it has that I don't know if it's gonna be really worth it. You know, we've kind of spoken about this before. There was rumors it was gonna come out as a feature for the Pixel phones, at least the Pixel 8 Pro, and it is now official because some official paperwork, some PR information has come out about this phone, and I'll link it down below. Evan Blast put it out, and it's a feature that, again, it's a thermometer. Let's just get it out there. Like, a thermometer for a phone is that a killer feature? Is that a feature you're dying to have in your phone? It's probably a feature that when COVID was rampant and blocking people's lives, that you might have wanted something like that. But now it's like, what do I need that for? What am I gonna use that for? Am I gonna use that every single day? Is that gonna be a killer feature for somebody? I just don't see it. I believe the way it's gonna work, you'll hold the phone up to your head where the thermometer is on the phone, and you'll be able to check the temperature that way. I'm assuming it'll also probably check the temperature of the outside when you're outside. I just don't see it being a big feature that's going to sell that phone. And to me, if it's not a feature that's going to sell the phone or a feature that a lot of people want, don't put it in there. Save the money for the consumer and let them have something they actually want. Put that thought and energy into something people want. Now, what could that be? It could be a display on the back of the phone. I'm still waiting for that on a candy bar phone, a slap phone. I would love to have that so that I can see myself when I'm recording video or photos with the back cameras. Faster charging, that'd be great. Bigger batteries, like, I don't know. There's much more and many more things that could have been used for. So I don't personally see it being a huge feature. Maybe when I get the phone, I'll feel different about it. But first story we're gonna talk about is the OnePlus Open. This is their folding phone. This is the one that is coming out and being launched in the next few weeks, couple weeks really. So what about this? Because there's actually a hands-on video that's been leaked out. It's from, well, the actress, I guess, is over in India. I'd never heard of her, Anushka Sharma, and she is showing the phone off clearly in the video, and you can see that it's the OnePlus Open, their folding phone. And you know, she's just holding it so awkwardly, like while she's taking photos, she's kind of like holding the phone like, oh, let me just hold it towards the camera people. Instead of like just holding it down, straight down, she's like, I'll angle myself. It's so fake. And I guess she's done this or something similar in the past with other folding phones. But I like when companies do stuff like this. It's like, it's kind of blatant advertising, but it's not. It's like, there's a little ditty for people to, a little golden nugget for people to pick up. I think it's cool. But yeah, I'd like to see them do this in America. Come on, baby, give it to somebody famous here in America and let them show off the phone a little bit. Here's what the Galaxy S24 Plus will look like when it arrives in January, February, and it's got that big 6.7-inch flat display, and the Plus version will have almost everything that the Ultra will have, a little less cameras, but it will still have that 45-watt charging and have a big display overall, and it'll just be an impressive device. It'll be a device that I think some people will still want to get. The design of it doesn't look all that different than the previous couple generations of this phone, so if you're looking for something different. And lastly, we'll take a look at the S24 Ultra. Again, a very similar design. The big design change on this one is it will have a flat display, a somewhat flat display, which we'll talk about in just a moment when we get a little bit closer looking at it. But overall, it still keeps that iconic, if you want to call it iconic, S24 design. We've seen this design over the last bunch of generations and it's not changing. It seems like it'll probably wait until next year, the 25, when they actually do change it that generation. But this one, not so much. But to kind of dive a little bit deeper into what I was saying, the guy that OnLeaks, who released all this stuff, gives us a little close-up saying display drives many of you crazy, flat or curved. I would say in between. But here is a close-up shot of which you can see the answer once and for all. You're welcome. And you can see it does have like a flat display, but then like the bezel / the side of the phone is kind of curved. So maybe it'll be the best of both worlds, where you get that flat display so you get more screen real estate, but then it's also pretty easy to hold because the phone is like curved, the body's curved. So we've got a big story for you. It's the differences of the S24 Ultra versus the S23 Ultra, at least hardware wise, and we're going to dive right into them. We're also going to go through the full list, basically the full list of specs about it as well. So let's dive right in. Let's start off with the physical changes here. But first, I've got a phone call I got to answer. Back to my show. My wife was calling me because my son lost his first tooth and the tooth fairy came. How cool is that? So I got to run in there after this. But yeah, so let's look at this. So you can see right here with the phone, the one on the left is the S23 Ultra. The one on the right is the S24 Ultra. And to just look at this, because on the right is the front is the display, and on the left you got the cameras. And on the left you can see that the body itself does seem wider, and I actually like the way it looks. It's funny when you look at the the flat display, the 23 Ultra on the left, on the back anyway, it just looks almost like it's too thin and too skinny. I actually like the physical look of the back for the S24 Ultra. And then the camera design, there's a slight change to it. It looks like it's gonna have a silver ring, or unless it's just different lighting on it, but it looks like it'll have a silver ring or like a gunmetal gray ring around the cameras. The flash and the other sensors as well there are very similar. The Samsung design logos at the bottom as well. You know, you don't see a whole lot of different changes on the back in terms of the physicality of the cameras and things like that. The display itself, you're still gonna have that camera that sits on top of the display, which is great. I'd rather have it, you know, I don't want it on the back. I mean, I don't want it underneath the display, I should say. Don't do that yet. Until that's perfected, it's just not on the Z Fold 5. And it's definitely better when it's on top of the display. None of that has changed, but again, you can see the difference here. It's a flatter, wider display. You're gonna feel like you have more screen real estate, and in actuality, you kind of will. And I don't know why people wouldn't want that. Like, what is the big thing here where it's gonna be like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Like, come on, bro, chill out. You want more display viewing from it. To dive more into this though, there's another photo, here it is, and this one shows the side-by-side comparison of the two phones. You got the S24 Ultra on the right, on the left I should say, and on the right you have the S23 Ultra. And you can see what Ice Universe says, and it makes sense. Bends only glass, which we call 2.5D, and the screen itself has no curve, it's a flat screen. But you know, it does. It looks like there's like a slight curvature, but nothing as major as the 23 Ultra. So again, it's gonna be fine, guys. Don't freak out about it. If anything, I think you're really gonna like it. And then to go into some of the specs like we have in the past, that new dual telephoto camera system, you got the titanium frame, you've got the 2500 nit peak brightness, which is gonna be extremely bright for outdoor viewing. It's got the new flat display with symmetrical bezels, Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 for great power consumption and just power in general. It's really, really powerful, especially in the graphics department. A bigger cooling system to keep the phone cooler, improved haptics and speakers. And the speakers are already pretty freaking good. New main camera, more RAM and storage, so up to 16 gigs of storage, potentially up to 2 terabytes, 16 gigs of RAM, 2 terabytes of storage. So it's looking like a nice phone, guys, overall, like a nice little bump and upgrade. We've got a giant story for you. This has to do with the Galaxy S24 Ultra, but it's also related to the Galaxy Z Fold 6. That will be the successor to the Galaxy Z Fold 5, which we have right now, which one of the major pain points for me, and one of the things I don't like about it and continually don't like about it, is this long, skinny display. Something major is looking to change. We've heard about some changes coming. I even showed what the Z Fold 6 potentially will look like, but there's more fuel getting added to that fire based off of this information. So this is coming from Ravegnas, who's saying that Samsung is discontinuing the Edge display on the S24 Ultra. Many people believe it's mainly for cost-saving reasons, which is indeed one of the factors. However, the core reason is the change in the aspect ratio of the front display for the Fold 6. Samsung aims to create a consistent design across its entire Galaxy lineup, striving to make the design of the S24 Ultra more similar to the Fold 6. Hence, the Edge display is being removed from the S24 Ultra. Now remember, S24 Ultra flat display, and Z Fold 6, 5, and all the other ones have flat displays on the front as well. But when you think about the aspect ratio, the flatness, and what we've seen in some made up renders that are officially from Samsung that somebody captured when they were over in Korea, such as the ones that you're seeing right now, that's what we are talking about. That's why we think, based off this information, the tweet, and what we saw with that person that captured the renders officially from Samsung, is that the new front display on the Z Fold 6 will end up being wider. Maybe not as tall, we'll see, maybe as tall, but definitely wider and more usable. And I know some of you are completely fine with this. I am not. I almost never use this, maybe to answer a phone call. That's about it. But even still, I'm usually living in this big giant display. And if they do that, that'd be obviously one of the things that I think some people are turned off by. Maybe you're not. I know a lot of people are though. They do that. Maybe they put better cameras in here, which they will. They'll put updated cameras, but will they be much better? Hopefully they'd be much better. Maybe up to the 24 Ultra standard. We'll have to wait and see. But this is a big thing, and I'm super stoked about this, and it's definitely gonna be a reason I would definitely want to upgrade to the Z Fold 6, is that bigger, wider display, which makes it more usable. I don't have to always jump in to the big display or feel like I need to do that, because I'll have almost a regular size phone. I know some of the Chinese manufacturers have already done this. The Vivo Fold, which I've covered on my channel, the Pixel phones have something similar. It's gonna be awesome. Super stoked for looking forward to this. What do you think the Z Fold 6 needs to change or do? In the comments down below, let us know your answer. Have a great day, and we'll see you down the road. Peace.